Hi, welcome. Lisa and Kaya here. Kaya, Lisa here. I accidentally once called myself, said, "Hi, I'm Lisa." And that's not my name. So used to doing it with Lisa.
And I usually say my name first. It's just habit. It's one of those weird things. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, we are from Mother's Awakening, and we're doing a series set up for sanity in the silly season.
Guide for mothers.
And this one is about clearing space in your calendar so you're not filling it up and dragging yourself through things that really, really don't serve. And also you're not doing them in ways that are completely out of alignment with your core intentions and your values and the feelings that you really want to be feeling.
And so whether you're here live or on replay, if you want to engage with us, we really like it to be interactive. We prefer to have discussion than just statically talk at you. But if you want to comment in the comments about what we're talking about, you'll go into the draw to win a digital pack of the Magical Mamas Manifesting System, which includes the Conscious Mamas Reset Retreat, the Heart Diary for 2018 for all of next year, the 13 Moon Goddess Activation Meditations, and a ticket to our half-day virtual retreat in January to come to that and really set yourself up for 2018. So these we're just setting up for the holiday season, and then in January we're going to set up for the whole year together. And there's a ticket in there for that too. So leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it, what you took out of this, we will talk as we go through the live on what you could comment about, but leave a comment.
And that, as well as you going into the draw to win a competition, that really helps you to integrate what you're learning. If you share it and you get past that, oh yeah, that was really good to remember stage, and actually write it down, and it prioritizes it a little more within yourself, that it embodies it, and it makes it happen. It makes you actually live it. So that's important.
It is. Okay, so let's talk about actually the topic, the calendar. The calendar, the dreaded holiday calendar.
Yeah, and whether you actually have a calendar or, like a lot of people, which would add another drain, you hold it all in your head and you just know all these things that
you have to do.
That you...
Well, you don't even fully know them exactly, but you know they're coming. Like I'm in that position because I don't know when I'm going to finish Christmas shopping. I'm actually really chill and relaxed about it, but like I realize I need to clean that up a bit today and get some direction happening with that. So at this time of the year, we fill our calendars up. There's a lot of social commitments. There's a lot of end of year things. There's a lot of family stuff. There's a lot of children's end of year things that happen, and Christmas parties. There's like tons of stuff on.
And lots of tying up loose ends and feeling like we need to finish things to start things again.
Yeah, some of it we put the pressure on ourselves around. Lots of that are responsibilities and obligations. Some, probably only a couple of those ones that feel like obligations are actually really things that you need to think about. His phone's ringing.
It's my children.
Kaya's at my house at the moment. Yeah, there are only some of those things. Very few of them really need to happen. And so this live is about, we're going to give you 4 different tools for really discerning what you want to be putting into your holiday season and what you don't, and what is in alignment with the things that are really important to you. And that is your core intention for your holiday season. Values, the values that you hold is really important this season, that you want to be modeling and acting on. And your core desired feelings that you want to be feeling. All of those kind of entwine together to give you your anchor for the season. And we talked about it in the first live of the series. So if you want to go and check that out on our timeline, you'll see it there. It was yesterday.
And we're also getting you to think about your priorities around all of these things. So even if you come out of this realizing that you still want to do most of the things that are there, like hanging in your calendar, looking at what are the most important ones and what are the ways to make them and make your intentions and the meaning that you bring to them what's really standing out in your holiday season, so they don't just kind of get tacked on the end. They become the things that are highlighted in this season for you.
Yeah. And actually, we're also going to talk about what happens when there's something on your calendar. And as you look at the tools that we're going to bring to you today, and you identify something on your calendar as I really want to be doing this. And yet there is a consequence or an outcome that is important to you around going to this event. For example, going to extended family events that don't really light you up, so to speak. Then how do you bring a healthy mindset to that? And how do you change your mindset around so that it really can be something that you can attach to in some sort of positive light?
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
So the tools that we want to bring to you, I want to talk about the rock and pebbles and stuff first. So one is this, it's an analogy that I find really helpful for remembering where to focus that concept of if I only had to do one thing today, or focus on one thing today to experience today how I wanted to experience, or to get what I wanted to have happen today, what would that one thing be? It's really powerful to think of it as the rocks, and I'll explain what I mean by that. You may have heard of this story. I don't even remember where I first heard this story, but I've heard it in many situations. I think I heard of it as often it goes where there's this lecturer at a uni standing out the front, and he demonstrates a message to everybody with these tools. So he had an empty jar, and then he had some big rocks. So rocks that, if he put 5 rocks in the jar, it would be full of rocks. And then he had some pebbles that were a fifth of the size of the large rocks. And then he had some sand, and then he had some water. And first he filled the jar up with water, and then showed how it was full, and asked if they thought that they could put anything more in to fill up that jar anymore. And they couldn't. They'd try to put some sand or some a rock or a rock, and it wouldn't work because it would make all the water come out. It would overflow. And then he started with the sand and filled the jar up with sand. And he found that it did look full. It looked completely full of sand. He was able to put water in still, and it would not take the sand out. It would be able to fill the jar up even more. But he couldn't put the pebbles in, and he couldn't put the rocks in because the sand had filled up all the spaces. So then, trying to put the pebbles in first, he found he could put the sand in between all the crevices where the pebbles were, and he could put the water in, but the big rocks had no space. But if he started with the big rocks and filled the jar up as much as he could with as many big rocks as he could, there was still space to put pebbles in between the spaces where the big rocks were. And then there was still space to put sand in between the crevices where the pebbles were. And then again, still space to put water. And the jar seemed full every single time, but it could still be filled up again and again. And the message in that was, those big rocks are the they're your core values, and they're the people who are really, really important to you, and the ways of relating with them that are super important. They're your core intentions, and they're the core desired feelings, which is what we talked about in the other video. That if you were to reflect on your day, or reflect on your year, or even reflect on your life, and you made sure that you did those things, you lived in alignment with those values, and you connected with those people in the ways that are important to you, then your life would feel full. Like they're the anchors, they're the core things. And if you make sure you do them, and you only focus on the rocks, or you only focus on the rocks and some of the pebbles, then you'll always have space for the sand and the water. And the pebbles are like the things that are really important, but they're not, like, in terms of your calendar, they're often the things that I know I need to do them because it's important, but I don't feel like a full desire, like a full yes, but I know that it's important because the consequences are in alignment with my values and my,
like your Christmas shopping.
Yes.
It's not a rock, but it feels important to achieve. And then the sand and the water are a lot of the other things that just fill up in the season. The crazy to-do list that we create, and sometimes we create them ourselves. We just add the most ridiculous amount of things that suddenly in our mind, Christmas will be a complete failure if I don't bake those cookies and deliver it to everyone. Or, and that's not to say that that's not valuable. If that's one of your rocks, then that's a rock. But like, we often add a lot of stuff in our minds that becomes this huge thing. And if you come back to this analogy of the rocks, pebbles, sand, and water, you realize that just focus on your rocks for a start.
Yeah, and you'll have space. Like the sand and the water will fit in the crevices. So don't even think about filling your life up with them.
And so the second technique or mindset to think about when you're looking at your calendar, I'm going to kind of combine two things together here, is feeling into your body. And feeling, when you look at the event that's set in your calendar or the task that's on your to-do list, and you look at it, how do you feel in your body about it? Does it feel like a yes? Yes, I want to do this. Yes. And yes is kind of a sense of expansion often in your body, even if it feels like a little bit like, it feels like a truthful yes underneath it all. It feels like, yes, I'm committed. This is yes. Or is it a no, which is like a contracted shutdown, feeling the weight of it all is like, oh, I've got to do this, and it doesn't really feel good. So is it a yes or a no in your body? Your body is always giving you information on guidance system as to which path to be following, your yeses or your nos. You need to be looking really carefully at what you're saying yes to when it's really a no in your body. Okay, and this is related to the idea of looking at each event and saying, does this give me energy? Does this fill me up somehow? Or does this drain me? Is this draining my reserves further? Okay, so it's kind of an extension of the yes or no, but it's the same sort of concept. Is this serving me or is this not serving me? Is this a yes or a no? Is this a rock or is this sand? Like, all these sorts of things are the same. We're just getting you to really think about. And so if you were to scan your mind now of your calendar in the next 2 weeks, what is sitting there? Hopefully there's some rocks. And if there's not, then you want to go back and relook at that.
And we are going to dedicate a live to creating some really meaningful things into your days that are rocks. Definitely rocks.
Definitely. Got to have some rocks. And looking at all the things that you can really start to consider, do I really need these? What can I be taking out? Okay. In the next slide, we're going to talk about how you say no to something that you don't want to do, because that's often a stumbling block for people. But right now, just be honest with yourself. what is in alignment with the way you want your holiday season to look, and what is an obligation or a responsibility that's pretty much a no. That's like the sand, it doesn't feel good, it's going to be draining you further of your energy. You really want to take a look at them. And there's a special case that we're going to talk about to end the live today, and that is the concept of when I see something in my calendar and I can feel it's like a ugh in my body, it's a no, it's not really, and it's not really fully, directly, clearly my core desired feeling, how I want to feel these holidays, and it's not, you know, it's not a hell yes, in other words. But it is important because of the consequences of it that are important to you. So I'll give you an example, which is a really common one at this time of year. Having a big extended family gathering on Christmas Day. And for some people, not for everyone, Kaya's not like this. Kaya's got a very cool family and she likes to hang out with all of them. But for some people, a lot of people really, that is like, oh, I've got to go hang out with all those people and they're going to be judgmental of us and critical, and I'm going to have to watch what we all say and do and blah, blah, like all that stuff that comes on. And when you feel it in your body, you're like, oh, God, that feels like a bit of a no. Hell no, often for some people. But when you tune into your values and your intentions, there's a part of you that says family is really important to me. I want my children to have a relationship with their cousins or their grandparents, or all those pieces that are beyond the scope of just that Christmas Day stuff that are important to you and that are really a yes at that level for you.
And that's where you first tune into what those values are and what those intentions are, and you focus more on that. And you also remember, because it's so empowering to realize and remember that you have a choice and that you're actually choosing that to be a yes. So you're shifting your energy around that a bit. It doesn't mean you're ignoring the stressful bits of it, but it means that you're empowering yourself. Like, this is a yes. This has become a yes for me. I'm
choosing to make it a yes.
And why is it a yes?
Yeah. What do you need to keep your focus on as to why you're saying this is a yes? Okay. And that might be your intention. That might be a value. And I would invite you to try and add a core desired feeling in there. And the key about this in these situations is pick a feeling that is generated internally within you and is not dependent on the other people at the gathering creating it for you. Okay? So maybe your core desired feeling is patience and ease or flow or tolerance, or I don't know, whatever it is, but it's something that you can generate and cultivate in your body, as opposed to something that will require other people to show up a certain way for you to feel it on the day. And take that core desired feeling with your intention or your value or whatever has made it a yes. I'm going to choose to do this. When you choose to do it, find a way to be as in as you possibly can, because dragging your feet through it and dreading it will make it horrible for you and will bring down everyone around you. Your children will feel it, your partner will feel it, everyone will feel it. So the key here is, if you're choosing to make this a yes for a reason, a consequence beyond the actual event itself, then how can you really be all in on it? Like, how can you choose it open-heartedly with an understanding of what it really means to you and why you're doing it?
And then there are also potentially, if you're so used to saying yes to many things and you don't say no, there's also things that you need to take out. And the next live we really want to dedicate to shifting that silly, and I'm very like, this is me too. It's a journey for me to practice saying no, but shifting that belief that it's bad to say no, and that if someone asks us to do something or we're invited to something or or we're asked a favor that we have to say yes, we have to do things, because it's not true. And it is okay to say no.
And in the next 5, we're going to talk about how you do that using your conscious communication tools in a way that's really loving and can be received and not create like issues for you or them.
Yeah.
So that's coming next.
So let us know in the comments what you're choosing to let go of and create space around in the calendar, or how you're choosing to shift something that you are choosing to say yes to, so that it's in alignment with your intentions and your values and your desires. Or also what you're fully, wholeheartedly saying yes to. What are your rocks? What are you really wanting to bring in?
Thank you so much for joining us again today, and we'll see you in the next live.
Yes. Oh, and we have spaces to have a one-off conversation, a free conversation with Lisa or I. We're both coaches who go very deep with our clients in really claiming your own truth, living your own truth as a mother, and more than a mother, as a empowered, divine whole woman. And we're dedicating some space during the holidays and also after the holidays, especially in the new year, to have these conversations. So if you're feeling a yes to that, click on the link and follow and choose a time on our calendar, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.